Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Your Global Discovery, conducted within the fourth cohort of the Food and Climate Shaper Digital Bootcamp. The DBC is a 4-week part time hybrid learning program filled with critical thinking exercises and live conversations with industry experts, in which continents, time zones, and age are not barriers, and digital tools are the enablers of a global community activation. The Advanced Learning Program, designed by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and Future Food Institute, includes hands on experiences supported by a series of e learning courses made to transfer knowledge, skills, and competencies to strengthen the capacities of food system professionals today and tomorrow. Global Discovery is an empowering tool from the DBC to learn on the ground from true role models, but also to strengthen the relationship between climate shapers and their own communities locally and globally. These sessions are hosted by the Future Food alumni and our growing network. I would now like to introduce you to Amanda Niode, who will be hosting today's session. Amanda is the manager of Climate Reality Project, started by Mr. Al Gore, which is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to increase public awareness of the climate crisis at grassroots levels. Amanda is also the co-founder and chairperson of Omar Niode Foundation, a nonprofit organization in Indonesia, which works to raise the critical mass of quality human resources and to foster awareness on local cultures and culinary arts. She is also an alumni of the Future Food Institute DBC and my batchmate as well from the first cohort. Amanda is committed to the training of women in Indonesia, thereby aiding in local economic development. Without further ado, I would now like to hand it over to Amanda.
Thank you, Gian. So, like Gian said, we were classmates in the first digital boot camp last year. And we are really a close-knit family. All the digital bootcamp alumni are close-knit family. We organize activities together. We ask questions and, all those kinds of nice things. So maybe you could recommend your colleagues and your friends to join the digital bootcamp because it's really worth it. Spending 1 month of your time with the who's who of the food, agriculture, and culinary arts world. Today, we are going to talk about spices. I'm going to show some slides, but before that, I would like to have my colleagues who will be here in the session show themselves in the video. If we can have Dindin Mediana. Dindin, can you say hello?
Mute. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hi, yes, we can hear you. So that's Dindin. And then another one of my colleague is Rani. Rani, are you there?
Hi, Bu. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hope everybody is well.
So, as you all know, this is broadcasted in Future Food Institute's social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So we can show the recording to our friends later on who are very interested but couldn't come because I received several messages from some friends. But as a host, I will share some slides on what we are talking about today. I hope you can see my slides. Can you see it well?
Yes.
Okay, so spices in Indonesian food and livelihood. That's our theme for the Global Discovery today. So I will be the host, Dindin and Rani, that's her nickname, will also be speaking. And below you can see the logos of our organization, including the Food and Climate Shapers Bootcamp, organized or developed by the UN Food and Agriculture Organization and the Future Food Institute. For those of you who don't know Indonesia, that's where we are. And as you can see, we are very prone to sea level rise and all kinds of climate impacts. We have 17,000 islands, 98 cities, 74,000 villages, 255 million people, more than 1,000 ethnic groups, and more than 700 local languages. But we have our national language, which is Indonesian. So we understand each other. Now, with this variety of culture, you can just imagine all kinds of foods and drinks available in Indonesia. This is a mapping of the traditional food and drink in Indonesia. Up until now, we have more than 30,000 traditional food and drink. This mapping is conducted by Sobat Budaya, a non-profit organization. And they collected this data through hackathon, including the recipes. And of course, the number is still counting. I don't know, in 1 year from now, 5 years from now, maybe we have 100,000 traditional food and drink. We talk about spices. We're going to talk about spices. Maybe some of you already know, but I just would like to have a refresher now, the difference between herbs and spices, and also the examples. We'll talk mostly about spices on the right side, examples of spices, and there is nutmeg in there. And Rani will talk about the situation of the Spice Island where they produce nutmegs in Indonesia. I'm working on climate issues, so of course I have to try to find out what's the impact of climate change on spice crops. Of course, it's impacting the flowering, and then if there is high temperature, there is a spike shedding in black pepper, and then a prolonged dry season will influence cardamom flowers and all kinds of impacts. This information is researched by Das and Sharangi from India in 2018, and it's published in a peer-reviewed journal. So that's the impact of climate change on spice crops. What is the red line there on the screen, Gian? That's not from me, but it's okay. So this is also from Sobat Budaya, the NGO that I mentioned. Out of the recipes they collected from the more than 30,000 recipes, they make a mapping of the most used herbs and spices in Indonesia. So it's very interesting. You see candle nut. Most people use candle nut in their cooking, coriander, galangal, turmeric, cinnamon. And then in terms of herbs, they use scallion and garlic, onion or shallot, green chili. After this explanation, after my explanation, Dindin will explain how we use these herbs and spices in Indonesian food. I told her I just couldn't imagine how can people cook and they use sometimes 10 to 15 types of spices, but the taste is still good. Gian, you must know how it is to use lots of herbs and spices because Indian foods are almost similar to ours. But for some people in the Western Hemisphere, sometimes they just couldn't imagine the use of so many spices. So why spices? Dindin will also explain about this, but this is the reasons. These are the reasons why people use spices. Of course, the taste, the aroma, the coloring, and then as preservative, slimming, aphrodisiac. You know, there are some talks about how people use spices as aphrodisiacs, but I've never listened to that talk. That might be an interesting talk as well. And of course, it's used for nutrition and then for healing, especially now during this pandemic. I'm going to show you a 1-minute slide of what we do in Indonesia during the pandemic. It's in Indonesian, but you can see the picture and you will understand. Dindin, myself, and another friend, we have a movement called Untuk Indonesia or For Indonesia. We were assisted by individuals, organizations, and corporations that sent us either in cash or in kind donation. And we cook some food and we send it to health workers in hospitals, because sometimes their food is not as appealing in food distribution. So we send them good food. And we use also spices in the Indonesian food. Dindin will explain about that. But as my last slide, this is the video about our efforts in helping health workers get good food. So if you saw the video, that's Dindin cooking using lots of spices for our health workers. So now I will turn this over to Dindin if I know how to stop my screen share.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. All right. Dindin, it's your turn.
Yeah. Thank you, Ibu. Thank you, everybody. Ibu, should I share the screen from us or from Gian?
Can you do it from your side?
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Sorry, Ibu. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dindin from Rumah Indonesia BV. So maybe later on, Ibu Amanda and me trying to explain about what is the Rumah Indonesia. So now I'm talking about the spices in Indonesian food. So as you know, spices in Indonesian food plays very important role in Indonesian food. So no rendang, no nasi goreng, no satay, no gulai are made without spices. And then there are more than, I think, 100 of spices in Indonesia. One dish can contain more than 10 or even 15 spices, like Ibu Amanda mentioned. How do we remember this? I think Gian also know the difficulties as a people who use many spices for cooking the food. So perhaps many of you already know, but allow me to share for those who don't. Spices can be found from different parts of a plant, like roots, buds, leaf, flower, fruit, seed, and nuts. And then in Indonesia, the spices that we are using is not only for enhancing the flavor or for the aesthetic only, but also has any other benefit, which is for natural, preservative, and then health benefit. So maybe later on I also explain why in for Indonesian movement we are using only Indonesian food, so to increase the immune for our health worker. So some health benefit that we mentioned is like turmeric is for reducing inflammation, strong antioxidant, and then for ginger is maintain endurance, and then for cinnamon is contain calcium, fiber, vitamin, and magnesium and iron. Also lemongrass. So other spices also have other benefit, but I don't think I have time to explain one by one. So I'm trying to start with following what Ibu Amanda mentioned about Indonesia. Indonesia is exceptionally large island country, extending from west to east, where everyone uses spices for every dish. There are some spices that we all generally use, but there is uniqueness from each province and island and their usage of their local spices. So I, as also mentioned by Ibu Amanda, we have currently we have more than 30,000 traditional food. I just want to share with you the three region and then represented by one dish from each region. So in the left side, which is Western Indonesian, I pick rendang, the traditional food from Padang. So I believe that everybody or most of you know what is a rendang. Rendang is not only known locally, but also in other worldwide. And then from Central Indonesia, I pick Bali. And then from the Eastern Indonesia, I pick soto Makassar from Makassar. So Ibu, I'm so sorry I didn't pick Gorontalo to represent Indonesia because my knowledge is nothing compared to you, Ibu. So I just pick soto Makassar. So Padang food is extremely popular, not only in Indonesia but also around the world. I hope all my friends here have tasted rendang. Cooked in any fashion, rendang has a savory, spicy, thick seasoning and makes you addicted. Once will never be enough, someone says. And then the taste is like Indian curry, but still distinct enough for it to stand out. That rendang, who's represent Western Indonesia. Rendang also use more than 15 spices. Some may use more than 20. And then from Bali, we pick Satelilit. I took the island of Bali to represent Central Indonesia because it is said that the island is more famous than Indonesia. Bali has special food ranging from Satelilit, like you see in the picture, chicken betutu, sambal mata. Also, there are some spices in common with Padang food. The aroma of kencur or kencur is if you pick a kencur on a Google Translate, they come up with galangal. But actually, kencur is much different than galangal, even though under one family. So Bali has been using a kencur and lemongrass very pronounced. And then the level of spiciness is far above Padang food. And then the last one that represent Eastern Indonesia is Soto Makassar. Soto Makassar tastes fresh, sour, savory, and also spicy. The acid is taken from the orange juice used in every dish just before the food is served. So the three regions use some of the same few ingredients, but the final tastes are quite different. So Gorontalo also using the acid, the lemon ya Bu ya, very often. Yeah. I think that's all from myself, but I just want to highlight that spices in Indonesia is not only to enhance flavor and aroma, but also has a natural preservative function and also providing health benefits. So can you remember if you are using like, let's say 10 or 15 spices in one dish, you get the benefit of 15, you get benefit from 15 different, spices. And then the more spices we use, the more benefit that we can get. So actually in the past, when we go to the pilgrim travel to Mecca, people don't use, of course, there was no preservative at that moment. So they use turmeric, galangal, and then lemongrass to make the food last longer, much longer, usually until like a few months, 2 months, 3 months. The travel took like a ship, not airplane, like happen today, nowadays. So they're using the spices to make it long last. Okay, I think that's all from myself. Ibu, you want to add on?
Yeah, before we go to Rani, Dindin, can you explain the measurement of those spices? You know, one dish has like 15 or 20 kinds of spices. How do you measure that so that the taste could be so good and it tastes good?
Okay, so actually when I started to learn Indonesian cook, which is when I was like 15 years old, so I couldn't imagine how people remember, how could people remember so many spices for only one dish. So I talked to my mom. I think it's it's incredible, and then it's not worth to know it. I mean to do it. And then my mom told me that each spices has a different different aroma, different taste, and then different benefit. So from that moment, especially when I went to Japan for study when I was like 70 years old, I started to value the Indonesian food. So I keep learning by myself, and then to measure is usually it's experience. I mean, the longer you are in the kitchen, and then the better you are in the measuring. But of course now you can always refer to Google, refer to the book, to the cooking book, how much you need, how much the galangal you need for soto, let's say. So you just use it for the beginner. But usually for us, for your mom, for our mom, usually they use our sense to measure the every spices that we need for one dish.
Okay, so you know that's why we are open to. I mean, in Indonesia, we are open to share our recipes. In some countries, you know, they said it's copyrighted, LLC, you know, and all kinds of titles protecting their recipes. We have a different perception in that every recipe will result in a different way depending on the hands who cook them. So we are not stingy with our recipes. Okay, thank you, Dindin. Now let's go to Rani. Rani will talk about, you know, the exotic spice, which is nutmeg from centuries ago up until now. Oh, before I forgot, Dindin is a world traveler. she travels a lot. In every city that she went to, she learned to cook the native food there. So that's why she knows a lot. And Rani is also a traveler, and she has a, well, she has a, what do you call that? Your explorer. She will explain about that. Please, Rani,
Let,
it's your turn.
let me play, let me just play the video to see what makes me know Banda. Because I'm not Bandanese, I'm not from Banda, but I just went to Banda last 4 years ago, and I want to show you a short video. Ibu Dindin, can you stop your screen, please?
Okay. Dah, done.
I will play a short video to see. I'll take you to Banda virtually. Enjoy.
That's one of the Spice Islands.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rani. You can call me Rani. I was a journalist for 15 years. And then I start the business that you see in the video, the wooden boat that I call liveaboard. So because of Indonesia has so many islands, there's so many beautiful destination which is remotely accessible and difficult to access. So in some part of destination, like in Raja Ampat, like in Maluku, we usually traveling with those kind of boat. So you sleep in the boat, you do activity in the boat. It's like a floating hotel, and you can do diving, you can do snorkeling. And then in Banda like that, we do like spice trail. So it was a spice trail hosted by Janet Denif. Janet Denif is actually she's the founder of Ubud Food Festival, if you ever heard about it. So Janet sail with my boat like once a year in a best season to Banda around October and November. So I want to show you where actually Banda is. If you see the map, can everyone see my screen clearly?
No, I believe there's some problem with the screen sharing.
Ah, okay. Hang on. I started again. Sorry again. How about this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So not many Indonesian know where the Banda is. So I have to zoom out like 5 times to find the little dot here of the Banda Island. So it's in the middle of the Banda Sea, which is Banda Sea is actually the oldest sea in Indonesia. The deep of the seas could be 11,000 meters. It's like 11 kilometers. So this is actually the Banda Island. But you can see the oldest map about Banda Island we can find already in 16th century, drawn by Francois Valentine. He's the Dutch missionary who spent almost half of his time in Ambon. So actually back in that date, Banda actually already become the what you call it, like a metropolitan city where the melting pot of people from everywhere. So even before the Dutch and Arabic Malayan trader controlling the green gold, that time some people believe that a pound of nutmeg from Banda worth it two-story house in Amsterdam. The nutmeg in Banda actually it's a specific species. It's Myristica fragrans.
Can you turn off your video?
In Indonesia, there are at least 4 species of. I'll stop my video.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Can everyone hear?
Yes, it's better now.
Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes, it's better now.
Okay. I'll repeat it. In 15th century, that it was Banda already become the metropolitan city that time. Even before Dutch come to Banda, there's already Chinese and Arabic Malayan traders controlling the spice. And yeah, this is the island of Banda. There are 9 islands comprising the small island, which is Run Island, and then Ai Island, and Gunung Api, and Naira Island. Naira basically the capital city of the Banda Island. And then the biggest island is Banda Besar, which is this is the center of the this is Hatta Island, then Sharil Island, Kapal Island, and Manuk Island. But in 15th century, the most famous island actually Run Island. Here, people believe that this is where the world can find the only nutmeg. So the best nutmeg in the world back in 15th century basically came from Run Island. That's why the price of the nutmeg it's so high. And you can see now the Run Island. So the picture in the left, it's actually Run Island. This is it's a recently picture, and this is the Manhattan. Why I talk about Run and Manhattan? Because if you remember that there were agreement between Dutch and British called Breda Treaty being signed on 1677. Actually, the Run was swapped by British swapped Run to Manhattan. Traded because it was British who ruled Run, and Dutch want to occupy all the island in in the Banda, but you can see how big difference between Manhattan and Rhode Island. This is not a picture years ago. It just recently picture like 6 months ago, and it is a way huge difference between Rhode and Manhattan. And this is the Banda Island today. The island consists of an administrative district only in the Maluku Regency. It's not even a province. It's not even a regency. It's only district. It's a small area, 172 kilometer square, and with people almost to 21,000 people. And you still can see how metropolitan it was, the Banda, because in Banda you can find people from Java, from Sumatra, from even Arabian descendant, even from Portuguese. You can see the influence of those kind of culture in their food, in their dishes, in their cuisine, because so many affluence, even Chinese also, but they already acculturated, become one culture in Banda. And talking about the plantation, it was Dutch divided nutmeg plantation into park. Park, it's like a huge block of plantation. It's controlled by Perkeneer, and now all the plantation become state-owned plantation, but the local people can rent to the government to manage the plantation and take the harvest and pay the rent from their harvest. One interesting story about Perk is I have a friend in Banda called Ponky van den Brugge. He's the 16th generation of Peter Jan van den Brugge. Ponky is the last Perkeneer. He managed to acquire back, to get back their own land, which is inherit from his descendant. Ponky now is still manage his plantation. Even he still has what you call it, like a house to dry the nutmeg. And nutmeg still become the main source of the Bandanese. The price still range depend on its quality. This is the Ponky, and you can see the picture. It's 100 years of 400 years old nutmeg plantation in Banda Besar. It's still producing until now. So there's something problem with the quality and the price, because people now is not really controlling the quality. Normally in Dutch era, they do smoke house to dry the. Today's people want to normally only dry it just in the street, just like that, directly sunlight, that's triggering the aflatoxin, which reduce the nutmeg quality. But because also the problem is farmer has no direct access to market and price mechanism. They only trader who monopolize I didn't say it's a problem, but it just sorry to see some waste, too many waste after the harvesting season, which is the fresh fruit of the nutmeg, which is not really absorbed to the market, become a new product which is valuable, because the fresh fruit of nutmeg is actually not valuable. It has no price, but it can be processed to become syrup, become marmalade, become candy, which is can be sold as a new product. So this is why there's something because I so in love with Banda. I see the historical story. I see the beautiful area, and I see all the people, the friendly people there. And I was just curious, how can we bring how can we bring the pride of the Banda Island? Because even in Indonesia, not many people know where is the Banda Island. So I'm together with some friends, also some women there in Banda, try to pitching some ideas. What if we make this? What if we make this? And then we come up with this, like a collaborative community to bring back the pride of the Spice Island. So it's basically like a communal, like a collaborative hub for everybody who want to learn about Banda, who want to learn about how to maximize the potential of the nutmeg itself, also the derivatives, trying to market channeling to sell the product outside the Banda, to promote the Banda itself, because for Indonesia, Banda actually also important city where our founding father being exiled there. So it's so sorry to see that small island being slowly forgettable. So this is some product that we try to develop, to what you call it, to offer to the market. Start from our friends. We have syrup, we have spread, we have candy, and then essential oil. We make a soap bar, and also the canary nut. Bandanis doesn't need to be what you call it, to be learn to make this. They already know how to make this, but we try to make it more standardized, making more with the quality more what you call it, with quality more better quality. And it's only the small step. It's only early step initiative, but I believe with the beauty of Banda, with the story of Banda itself, I can tell a story. I can tell the fascinating story about Banda, and I believe people will also fall in love with Banda, and bring back the pride of that Spice Island, which is already famous back in 15th century. Ibu, back to you.
Thank you so much, Rani. Very interesting. And you're, of course, very enthusiastic and passionate, even though you said that you're not a Bandanese, but you love the island very much. And of course, the spices. I already sent all the videos and the slides to Gian, if anybody's interested in looking at them again. But before we end this session, I would like to give an opportunity to Dindin to explain about Rumah Indonesia or Indonesia House, what it is and how it can help bring the glory of Indonesian spices to the world. Dindin? Are you still? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. I think we have some problem with the connection here in Indonesia because everybody stay at home and then using the internet very much. So even myself, I put the video still off because once I turn on and then the connection will be on and off. I'm so sorry. And then I also have a problem, Ibu. I'm so sorry for sharing the presentation of Rumah Indonesia to everybody here. But let me allow me to explain that 1 year ago, myself, Tantri, my friend, and then another friend, which is Rina and Tuko. Tuko is Indonesian who lives in Netherlands, in Amsterdam for more than 30 years. And then we decided to open what we call it as a Rumah Indonesia. So it's a home of Indonesian product for home for anything that related to Indonesia. Why we have an idea to set up the Rumah Indonesia in Amsterdam, and then why Amsterdam? First, Amsterdam is like a hub for Europe. So once we go to Amsterdam, we can also include other country within Europe. And then secondly, we also have a very strong bonding, strong relationship between Indonesia and Dutch. So you know the reason why. And then the third one is because we also have a very deep concern with the Indonesian product that actually for us is a very good in quality, but don't have access to be seen or to be tasted by any other people in other country. So that's the reason why we decided to set up Rumah Indonesia. So we will curate any product like maybe like produced by Rani and team, and then we bring them all to Amsterdam, and then we let them try, and then if they like or they want to use it, they can order through us. So we also helping the small farmer producer to be brought the product to Amsterdam and being known by the other country. And then the second thing is also like I mentioned on my presentation on spice, we have a lot of benefit of using spices, Indonesian spices. I think some is also similar with spices from Indian, from any other Asian country. But I think it's a good for any other country to get to know. So as you all know that one of superfood is actually comes from Indonesian, like a moringa. So this is actually Indonesian, and then not many Indonesian also knows moringa nowadays. So that's the reason why we decided to open Rumah Indonesia in Amsterdam. Ibu?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So that's our efforts in returning the glory of Indonesian spices. But the most important thing is, of course, the narratives behind all those. So not only the spices, because it's small, the color is not so appealing, but the stories are very, very interesting. So we are 5 minutes over. I'll return this to Gian. Thank you so much. I hope we can still connect and do lots of activities together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Amanda, and everyone else for your time and such an insightful session, and the information been shared with the community out here at Future Food and the Extend Network. I'm sure there's so much that we can do about it, and there's so much inspiration within it. Again, thank you all for watching the first session of the Global Discovery, and we shall see you soon.